scheduled meeting of the Bernie ISD Board of Trustees. We're going to do a quorum check. I normally start from the left, but today I'm going to start from the right. We have Dr. Joe Tidwell, Ms. Donna Sharp, Carl on Fire, myself, Rich Senna. We have Superintendent Dr. Thomas Price and Garrett Wilson. We do have a quorum. So at this time, at 5:02 p.m., we're going to go into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignations, terminations, retirements, and reassignments, discussing purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, discussing security personnel, and consider and discuss board self-assessment evaluation. At this time, it's 5:03. We're now going into closed session. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Bernie Independent School District Board of Trustees. I'll just go around the room. We do have a quorum. On my left, we have Mrs. Maritza Gonzalez-Cooper, Jessica Davila, Garrett Wilson, our Superintendent, Dr. Price, myself, Rich Senna, Carl on Fire, Mrs. Donna Sharp, and Dr. Joe Tidwell. We have a full quorum in attendance. Now, if you could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors presented tonight by the award-winning Bernie champion JROTC Color Guard. Now, please join Bernie Middle School South Student Council as they lead us in the pledges. Please remain standing for a moment of silence and prayer. Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, students, so I know you have questions, which is awesome. If you could introduce yourselves, state your name, your grade, your role at the school, that'd be great.
Good afternoon. My name is Sophia DeCola. I'm the president of Student Council at Bernie Middle School South. My question for you today is, how have student organizations evolved since you've been in school?
That's been a long time. Let's call in one of our younger, Joe. Oh, you're right. Well, I picked you first, so go.
I think the main thing is the number of them that exist, and also my memory might be really bad at this point. But when I was in high school here, I remember you had FFA, you had band, you had a few other things, but obviously all the sports. But we've got robotics teams, we've got e-gaming, we've got just hundreds probably at this point. So I think the main thing is there's just a ton more opportunities.
I think communication, the way y'all communicate to each other and the cool things you get to do with graphics. I look at some of the posters up for clubs and, it's all through computer and designed really nice. We were terrible. We couldn't even read the classroom numbers because our handwriting was so bad with our flyers. So the way y'all communicate, I think, is much more efficient today than back in my day.
Hi, my name is Jacob Esquilin. I'm the Student Council Vice President. And I was wondering, what life lesson did you learn from your favorite class in school?
Wow. Well, I'm a history buff, so my favorite, I had the same awesome high school history teacher twice, 10th grade and 12th grade, AP, and Ms. Grant really forced us to think. She used a Socratic method of instruction, and we had to justify whatever our views were, and we just had some really good classroom discussions, and it really taught me to think through issues from every angle, all sides, so that I could come up with my own opinion, which I think is the definition of education, teaching kids to be critical thinkers.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Samuel Haas. I'm an 8th grader, and I am the Student Council Secretary at Bernie Middle School South. My question for you is, what teachers had an impact on you growing up?
Yeah, that's a good, thank you, Carl. And Dr. Price, why don't you answer this one? No, there really is a reason for,
I've shared this a couple of times. We grew up very poor. We moved 22 times before I was in 9th grade. Did not like school, thought it was a pain. We never started attending school until the law made us. Still didn't attend school. I'd go in one door and out the other. But there was a teacher, well, when I got there, you have to remember, I looked a little bit different, had long black hair. It wasn't a fashion statement, it was just we couldn't afford a haircut. And they stuck me in 2 classes when I arrived at Northbrook in Houston. They put me in metal shop, which I don't know why, and I still have fingers to show, and they put me in journalism. And there was a young teacher there, about 5 years, maybe 6 years older than us, and she saw something in me that no one else did. She didn't see the dirty little kid. And she made sure she bugged me to death. I didn't like her at first. She made me come to school. And then by the time I went from freshman year, sophomore year to senior year, she transformed me and my family, really. And none of my siblings graduated from high school. And I credit her because there was one caring person in my life who thought it was important. And I think what I share with other students when we talk about this is I was embarrassed to share that story, still am somewhat, and because it's what's to be proud about. Shared it with the teachers when I first got here, and someone asked me, "Hey, have you ever looked up Mrs. James?" And the only thing I've ever seen good on Facebook, I was able to look up Mrs. James, and she was still teaching in Highland Park in Dallas, and reached out to her, and she loves teaching. She's in her 70s. She's a counselor, and she found out. She came down here. We met at Peggy's, and had a little Christmas dinner. And what was funny, she was telling me all these things that she remembered me. And in the back of my mind, I know this. She was a sweet lady, and she didn't remember me. But here's the key. I remembered her, and she changed my life. And that's what I think our teachers do every single day. They care about their students. They love their students. And what I also share with our leadership group, she may not have known, but I did. And every single day, we make an impression on people's lives when we don't even know it. So she made an impression on mine. Wish my brothers and sisters had that connection. And my expectation for our staff is everyone makes that connection for our kids. So that's who made my difference.
Thank
Hello, my name is Izzy May, and I am the historian at Bernie Middle School South. And my question for you is, out of all the clubs you were a part of growing up, what were some of the most important and impactful for you?
I see Garrett wanting to answer.
You know, I was in choir. Does that count? And that was great. It was really good. That was one of those things that when I was a student, it was probably not, that wasn't something that wasn't one of the cool clubs or activities, I guess, but man, it was awesome. And I'm glad that these days that's changed, right? That the arts are respected and kind of a lot of the cool kids do the arts these days, and I think that's awesome. So, but that had a big impact on me, music.
Great, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Great questions. And for those of you that have not attended a board meeting before, every month we have students from a different one of our schools, our elementary or middle schools, come and lead us in the pledge and also ask questions. It's always a lot of fun. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I hear a motion from Ms. Sharp, second from Maritza. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. So item 4C is combination of students, staff, and community achievements. Brian, I know you're going to lead this.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, Dr. Price, Board of Trustees, and all of our guests. If you haven't been to a Bernie ISD board meeting, we do this every month where we honor the outstanding accomplishments of our students and staff. And we invite our board members to come down for our photos. Tonight, we are honoring over 110 students and staff for 11 different commendations. And so we are very excited for you to get to hear all of the great things that our students and staff are doing. We start commendations tonight by honoring our local law enforcement, the men and women in blue. Please come on up to our local law enforcement. And we also, besides honoring our law enforcement, we are thanking community members who generously donated to the Bernie Police Foundation to sponsor our school resource officers. The Bernie Police Foundation, in partnership with BISD, the 100 Club of Kendall County, and Legacy Farmstead, is pleased to announce a successful 2023 giving campaign for school resource officers. Through generous donations and community support, we raised over $100,000 for all 12 BISD school resource officers. Let's give that a big hand. Over the last several months, we have recognized donors who made this possible. Tonight, we are recognizing Vic and Sherry Vaughn for the SRO sponsorship of Champion High School. Mark and Elke Van S. and daughter Elin for SRO sponsorship of Cibolo Creek Elementary School. A donor who asked to remain anonymous for the SRO sponsorship of Voss Middle School. Renee Young for sponsorship of Currington Elementary School. The Rotary Club of Fair Oaks Ranch for SRO sponsorship of Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary School. Scott Reichert and family and Norman Scott and family for joint donation SRO sponsorship of Champion High School. Billy and Michelle Smith for SRO sponsorship of Bernie High School. And general donors who provided SRO sponsorship for Herf Elementary and Bernie Middle School South. Let's have one more big hand for all of our donors and sponsors for school resource officers. And we'd like to thank those who support these fine individuals. If you are a family member or a friend of either one of our law enforcement or our sponsors, please raise your hands or stand up. We want to thank you for your support of this great cause as well. Let's give the supporters a hand. Thank you all very much for your support. We greatly appreciate it. Our next commendation honors the 2023 UIL Class 4A State Bronze Medalist, the Bernie Greyhounds Girls Soccer Team. The Greyhounds made history as they advanced to the state Final Four for the second straight season. Bernie won 5 playoff matches and defeated Davenport 1-0 to win the Region 4 championship. The Greyhounds finished an amazing season with an overall record of 26-3 and have won 46 matches over the last 2 seasons, and they have won state bronze medals in each of the last 2 seasons. Congratulations to the Class 4A state bronze medalist, Bernie Greyhounds Girls Soccer Team. And if our parents and supporters of the Greyhounds are here, would you please raise your hands or stand up? We want to thank you for supporting the Greyhounds. Congratulations and go Greyhounds! Our next commendation tonight celebrates Champion High School senior Andrew Guayano, who won a state championship in the 2023 Texas State Citizen B contest. Andrew is the first student in Bernie ISD history to win the statewide Citizen B. The Texas Citizen Bee is a statewide civic education program and competition. Students use a 171-page guide to prepare for the 2-part competition with an oral and written component. The competition included a student from each of the 20 regions in Texas. With the win, Andrew was awarded a $5,000 scholarship as the top prize. He also earned a $250 gift card for winning the Region 20 Citizen B earlier in April. With Andrew tonight, his teacher and coach, Kim Grossenbacher. And if you're here supporting Andrew or Mrs. Grossenbacher, would you raise your hands? We want to make sure we thank you for your support as well of this fine young student. Congratulations, Andrew. Our next commendation tonight honors the champion high school saxophonics. Come on down. The Saxophonics placed 15th at the 2023 UIL State Chamber Music Festival in Bastrop, and they are the first ever Bernie ISD ensemble that has been selected as a state finalist in this event. The Saxophonics qualified for the festival via a recorded submission earlier this year and competed against top ensembles from across the state. Champion had a wonderful performance at the event and placed 15th overall in the entire state of Texas. They have performed at a high level, and their music has thrilled audiences of all ages. Congratulations to the finalists in the 2023 State Chamber Music Festival, the Champion Saxophonics. And if you're here as a family member or a supporter, would you raise your hands too? We want to make sure we thank you for your support of these fine students. Congratulations, Saxophonics, and we need Mr. Yuntz to come up here for the picture. He thought he was going to get out of it. Let's give Mr. Yuntz a hand. He is the director of the Saxophonics. He thought we wouldn't notice him back there. Congratulations and go Chargers! Our next commendation celebrates champion students who qualified for the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America state competition in Dallas. Let's hear it for these students. Haley Goodwin, Natalie Holder, and Leighton Mabrito advanced to state thanks to their strong performances at the regional competition. At the state event, Haley took first place in the Teach and Train category to qualify for the national competition later this spring. Natalie placed 7th in Teach and Train, while Leighton finished 12th in Interior Design. FCCLA is a national career and technical student organization for students in family and consumer sciences education. Congratulations to these fine students as state qualifiers in the FCCLA competition. And if you're here supporting these students, if you're family or friends, please raise your hands because we want to make sure we thank you for your support as well. Thank you for being here. Congratulations, go Chargers! Our next commendation, we go to Bernie High School for the Bernie Greyhounds Winter Guard. Let's give them a round of applause. The Greyhounds Winter Guard took 3rd place in the Texas Educational Color Guard State Championship competition. The BHS Winter Guard has been a consistent state contender in TECA since 2019, placing in the top 3 in their category in 5 of the last 6 years as a unit. This year, the Winter Guard was promoted to a more competitive bracket due to their growth. Despite more fierce competition, the Guard placed 4th, 3rd, and 2nd in their division and once again placed in the top 3 at the state championships. Congratulations to the Bernie Greyhounds Winter Guard! And if you're here as a family member or a friend, would you raise your hand? We want to make sure that we thank you to support these fine students as well. Thank you for being here. Congratulations and go Greyhounds! For our next commendation tonight, we congratulate the President's Volunteer Service Award winners. Let's give them a hand. A total of over 30 students from Bernie and Champion High School, as well as Bernie Middle School North, earned this award for being exceptional volunteers in our community. This award honors individuals whose service positively impacts communities in every corner of the nation and inspires those around them to take action. Students earned either a gold, silver, or bronze award based on the number of volunteer hours they completed. Volunteer hours range from 50 hours to over 250 hours in a 12-month period. A total of 8 students here tonight volunteered over 250 hours during the last year. Congratulations to the President's Volunteer Service Award winners. If you're here on behalf of these fine students, would you raise your hand so we know to thank you for your support? Congratulations and thank you for supporting your community. And now we're up to our staff recognitions tonight. Our next commendation honors the 2021-22 UIL Texas State Boys Soccer Coach of the Year, Bernie Greyhounds Michael Strong. Coach Strong has had tremendous success on the Greyhound sidelines, having won back-to-back Class 4A state championships in 2021 and 2022 and advancing to the regional finals this season. Coach Strong has led the Greyhounds to a total of 75 wins over the past 3 seasons with only 7 losses during that span. Coach Strong won his 100th career game earlier this season. In addition to leading the Greyhounds boys soccer team, Coach Strong is an assistant volleyball coach and teaches earth and space at Bernie High School. Congratulations to the State Boys Soccer Coach of the Year, Michael Strong. Congratulations, Coach. Go Greyhounds. Our next commendation, he needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. The 2023 Texas High School Athletic Directors Region 8 Administrator of the Year, Coach Stan Leach. Coach Leach was honored by the UIL in 2021 as one of the 100 greatest Texas high school basketball coaches in history. This year, Coach Leach is a back-to-back winner for the Region 8 award. Over the past year, the Boerne ISD Athletic Department has had tremendous success, and we mentioned it earlier, the Greyhounds boys soccer team winning back-to-back state championships, as well as the champion Chargers swim team winning individual state championships, the Greyhounds football and tennis teams earning silver medals, Chargers cross-country team winning a silver medal, Charger boys water polo team, you guessed it, a silver medal, as well as the Boerne champion soccer and basketball teams, making a total of 8 Final Four appearances among many other accomplishments. Folks, those are in the last year alone. Congratulations to Coach Leach, the Athletic Director's Region 8 Administrator of the Year. And I want to welcome Mrs. Leach as well, who's always where Coach Leach goes. Thank you for your support of Boerne ISD as well. We love calling people out to be in pictures, if you haven't noticed. Congratulations, Coach. Go Greyhounds and go Chargers. Our next commendation celebrates Boerne and champion assistant swimming and diving coach Michael Gillette for being named the 2023 Texas High School Coaches Association Assistant Coach of the Year for Region 8. Coach Gillette helped lead the Chargers to earn 2 state swim medals this season, including an individual state championship, and has been a key part of Champion's recent success. Coach Gillette was also an assistant on the Chargers' state silver medal winning boys water polo team in the fall. He has taught AP U.S. History at Champion since 2008, as well as AP Human Geography, Historical Periods, and on-level U.S. History, and he was the 2016 Boerne ISD District Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to Coach Gillette, the Region 8 Assistant Coach of the Year. And also want to thank Mrs. Gillette for being here as well. Could you wave to the crowd, Mrs. Gillette? I have a feeling we'll hear about you in a little bit as well tonight. Congratulations, go Chargers, and go Greyhounds as he coaches that swim team as well. Our final commendation this evening honors Cibolo Creek Elementary School kindergarten teacher Dana Rust. Come on down, Mrs. Rust. Mrs. Rust was nominated for the 2023 Lori Tolos Barda Outstanding Educator Award by the Down Syndrome Association of Central Texas. Mrs. Rust was nominated for the award by Cibolo Creek parent Taylor Gerbert for providing superior support and encouragement to his daughter Sophia, a Cibolo Creek kindergarten student. Mrs. Rust is in her 21st year of teaching kindergarten. She taught at Currington Elementary for 4 years and moved to Cibolo Creek in 2006, when it opened. The Lori Tolos Barda Educator of the Year Award is presented to a deserving person or team to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day on March 21st. Congratulations to Dana Russ, the 2023 Lori Tolos Barda Outstanding Educator Award nominee. Congratulations, Mrs. Rust. Thank you very much for being here. Let's have one more hand for all of our commendations tonight. And Mr. President, I will yield the floor back to you, sir.
You know, and once again, for those that don't come to our meetings on a regular basis, really the best part of the meeting is really celebrating achievement and celebrating excellence. So it's a fun part of the meeting. Brian, we're done with combinations. I think you've got the Bernie Insider presentation.
Yes, we do, Mr. President. So we're very excited for you to see the latest edition of the Bernie Insider, which is hosted by a Bernie ISD student. You're also going to see the April Bernie Education Foundation Wow Moment, which will feature more students. And then we'll have our April Student Limelight recipient. So please focus on the video screen for the Bernie Insider.
Hi, I'm Tommy Price, Bernie ISD Superintendent. Thank you for watching the Bernie Insider.
Hello, and welcome to the Bernie Insider. My name is Hallie Jonas. Today I'm going to introduce you to the MBT. Wait, what's the MBT? Well, it's the next big thing. One of the many cool things that Bernie ISD schools do is to prepare students for the real world by teaching them on how to become entrepreneurs so that when they get older, they can run their own business. Meet some of Bernie ISD's amazing kid entrepreneurs. Meet Bristol. From lotions to soaps, Bristol is cleaning up the competition when it comes to homemade products.
I was thinking about ways to make money, and then my mom was like, oh, it'd be really cool if you made soap. And then I was like, yeah, that would be really cool. And then we just started to get really into it a lot. A lot of people liked it and a lot of people bought it, which was really surprising to me because I didn't think a lot of people would want it. But they liked how strong the scent was and just the way that it was.
Meet Avery. Stackable beaded bracelets are all the rage. Avery has a colorful selection and she'll even customize it for you.
I've made bracelets before, I just never sold them, and it's always been fun. I feel like there's a lot of variety between which ones you can make and different kinds, so I like that. Most people like the school bracelets because I make ones for Champion and Bernie, and then some for Voss Middle School, and so I think people like that a lot.
One of the amazing things that our district offers is an incubator program, where students from both Bernie and Champion High Schools team up with real industry leaders to promote their ideas in the hopes of marketing their products or services to the world. When it comes to being passionate about entrepreneurship, Bristol and Avery are great examples. But what if you feel passionate about helping those in need? Meet Noah and Andrew. They had a passion to start Good for the Soul.
So Good for the Soul is a nonprofit that's dedicated to collecting, cleaning, boxing, and then giving away gently used pairs of sneakers to children that need them. We do this through donation drives, and we hand clean each pair and, like I said, box them, and then ultimately reach out to a local nonprofit and give away the sneakers that we have collected to children that are in need of them.
We both are into sneakers, right? And we know the feeling of getting a new pair of sneakers and how that's super nice. And we thought some kids probably don't have that feeling, and we wanted kids who didn't have as many resources to get those new shoes. We wanted them to get the same feeling of getting a new pair of sneakers and just that feeling inside that just feels good to get something new.
Here at Bernie ISD, every student is inspired to dream big. Who knows, you might be the next big thing. I'm Hallie Jonas, and thank you for watching the Bernie Insider.
Today is one I was in Ms. Carter's second grade classroom, where the students are going to be learning creativity, innovation with engineering concepts using their makerspace code.
I'm very lucky and honored that BEF gave me this wonderful grant. I got a makerspace cart, and it has all of this things for kids to do STEM in the classroom. So we have all sorts of the kids will often create projects, and they get to pick their supplies that they're using. So the cart is filled with all these supplies that we will refill. And right now they're currently making rockets to go with our space unit that we are doing with PhD science. They love it because it creates all of our subjects and it puts everything together. So I am doing math, I'm doing science, social studies, and reading all in one. Thank you, BEF, for supporting my classroom.
Thank you for supporting every student, every teacher, and every school in Bernie ISD.
This month's Limelight recipient is Gentry Gendrich, a 5th grade student from Herf Elementary. Gentry embodies everything that we look for in a Herf Hawk. She is honest, accountable, works hard, kind, and is a self-manager. Gentry is involved in many activities. When she isn't singing in the honor choir, she's in the pool swimming for her club team, Aqua Swift. And if you think that's all, well, she also takes to the court and plays basketball for the YMCA. Gentry recently competed in the Houston Rodeo, where she got 9th place in reasoning, which is a combination of accuracy, relevancy, organization, terminology, and presentation from the 4-H horse program. She is very supportive of her family as she cheers for her sisters at their athletic events at Voss Middle School. Gentry excels in everything she does. She has consistently been on the honor roll her entire elementary career and always gives 110% when it comes to learning. Not only is Gentry a leader for our 5th grade class, she is a great role model for our younger Hawks too. Congratulations to this month's Limelight recipient, Gentry Gendrich.
How about a hand for our students in that video? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what Bernie ISD is all about. That is what our students are all about. Gentry Gendrich is here. Let's give Gentry a hand from Herf Elementary. And the student who will take my job someday, from Currington, the host, the Bernie Insider, Hallie Jonas. Come on up, Hallie. And board members, and I know you have some questions for these great students.
Absolutely. Board members, who would like to start off? Well, I've got 2 questions that come to mind. Gentry, how do you find time to do all this?
Like, my mom would, like, drive me around a lot, like, because we would do, like, this carpool where, like, I would have horse judging on Thursdays and sometimes on Wednesdays, and after that, I would go to swim, and then sometimes, if I'm, like, lucky, like, my mom's friends will, like, pick me up so I can go cheer on my sisters for their track meets, which I always, like, sneak onto, like, the fields so I can, like, cheer them on, but I never get caught, even though I'm wearing, like, bright pink.
So, Hallie, you're quite the spokeswoman. Do you speak often? I mean, have you done karaoke? I mean, where did you get your talents?
So I love talking. So I like doing a bunch of this stuff a lot. So.
Your family was shaking their head.
Hallie, did you use a teleprompter, or how did you memorize everything that you needed to say?
So they gave me a paper, and then they told me that I had to memorize it over the weekend. So they gave me 2 parts that I had to memorize, and then so I just memorized them, and that's what I had to say on the video.
And Gentry, I thought I saw a picture. Do you make jewelry too?
Whenever it was, like, during COVID, like, 2020, we got, like, really bored, and my sister Abigail had, like, an idea to make earrings. So we started doing that, and then, like, we started to stop because we started getting really busy with sports and stuff. So, like, whenever like this picture on the screen showed up, it was like me selling them for my business fair, and I got 509 tickets, and I was one of, like, the second entrepreneurs. So.
Well, good. And then maybe next year you can join us at the Bernie Education Purse-Mania and be one of our kid entrepreneurs there too. Yeah. Cool.
You guys did a great job, and you have family here tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to introduce them?
So I have my mom over there in the pinkish shirt, and then I have my great aunt Judy sitting next to her, and then I have my sister Abigail, the one that made to like the district chat meet.
And Haley, you've got your parents, grandparents.
Yes, sir. So that's my mom, and my sister Emma. That's my dad, and then my grandfather, my grandmother, and my other grandmother.
Thank you.
You know, they highlighted entrepreneurship, and for those of you that are interested, tomorrow night is pitch night at Champion High School. It's in Ms. Brewer's class, and there will be, I believe, 6 teams of students from both Bernie and Champion making a case for their business plan that they've developed with community volunteers and business owners. And it's always a great show, and thousands of dollars of scholarships and prizes will be given out. So it's a lot of fun. That'll be tomorrow night at Champion. Okay. Brian, that's it for that section?
Yes, sir. I yield the floor back to you, Mr. President.
Okay. So are there any items? I think there's no items from closed session. Okay, so our next part of the meeting, item 7, is visitor comments. And we have a number of people that have signed up for tonight. I will read, the basics for this part of the meeting. The board encourages comments about the district from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to public education and be no longer than 3 minutes. The overall time limit for comments will be 30 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion of the issue until the appropriate time during the meeting. The board encourages the public to discuss concerns with an appropriate administrator who has the authority to address the concerns. Concerns should be expressed as soon as possible to allow early resolution at the lowest possible administrative level. Finally, please be aware that rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period and throughout the meeting. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Those who choose to engage in such behavior may be asked to leave. Each participant is responsible for the content of their own statements. Okay, so we do have a number of people that have signed up. We'll start off with number 1. And when you come on up, please state your name. First speaker is Jerry Lamping. Hey, Jerry.
Good evening, President, Superintendent, fellow board members. I'm the president of the Kendall County Retired Teachers Association. We're a local chapter of the Texas Retired Teachers Association. And we've been trying for several years now to try to get a cost of living adjustment coming for our TAS, our Texas Retirement System annuity checks. And we haven't been very successful with that. So in August, we asked you, the school board, to support the retired teachers in Kendall County and to add to your legislative priorities. And you did the following. You said, we urge the legislature to support a cost of living COLA for TRS retirees. The last COLA was passed in 2013. And since then, compound inflation has totaled 27%. This COLA would help both current and future retirees and help retain quality educators. Since then, you've met with several, I know you've met with several of the legislators, I think maybe up to 70, 80 of them. And as a result, Senate Bill 10 has passed, and by all the senators, Donna Campbell, our representative, our senator, and all 31 senators had sent that to the state legislature, to the House, to provide like $4.5 billion to us retirees. So, and also the House is committed now with their House Bill 600 to also provide a COLA and maybe a supplemental check to retirees. You know, Tim Lee, our executive director, said he's extremely confident that we will get a COLA this year, and so we appreciate that. You know, there's 1,250 retirees in Kendall County. There's a bunch of old people like me around here, but we contribute, we volunteer, we participate, and we get maybe $50 million from the TRS, which we use in the community to support the community. So we're thankful for your support for us. I'd also like to recognize tonight Bernie's Best, Dr. Kenneth Herb, Christina Bergman, Ann Tebbett, Colonel Kenneth Nickel, and Dan Radla. You presented them with the Bernie Best Award this Friday at the luncheon. It's a great program, and I appreciate what you're doing for retirees and the Bernie alumni. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And Jerry, thank you for your continued involvement in our community. Okay, our next speaker is Sarah, is it Rivard or Rivard? Rickard, okay. Sarah, okay. Come on up. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, President, Superintendent, and board members. My name is Sarah Rippard, and I am a proud American citizen who grew up in Europe. I have lived in several states in the country and now have landed in this beautiful town called Bernie. I come here with a very simple request, that your eyes and ears and hearts are open, because I bring a gentle warning that I am now seeing in this town. And that is the gender theory and identity that is going to be coming into a lot of the schools. It has already entered a school, I will not say, I think many do, and I'm going to tell you why this is so dangerous. Good people can spread very dangerous propaganda. Schools are not for propaganda. I have escaped communism myself. We are now seeing cultural communism across America. I have seen the devastation of what it means to talk to young children about sex, showing inappropriate material, telling children what gender they should be, castration of their private parts. I will spare the biological anatomy, but it is very dangerous because you're confusing children, not you, the people who are going in. And I understand that an incident happened where parents were not informed. How many times do children change their minds? I study neurobiology. I have a platform called Parentainment, which is about the evolution of our children, the biology of childhood, and how we're raising thriving children. And I can tell you their brains do not fully form until they are 25. We have adults going in there, they have no idea what they're talking about. We are seeing this on a level I have never experienced before. We are cutting off healthy parts. We are looking at 70% of these children who will grow up and regret the decision. They will be sterilized. They will not be able to have children. They will face long-term diseases in their lives. Please be aware, this is not about hating anyone, and I refer you to go to the trans against groomers and gays against groomers, to understand the bigger agenda here. We're in trouble, folks. I've seen it with my own eyes. My own child was subject to this. Teachers talking about indoctrinating, psychologists coming in and talking to the children. I care about the children more than anything, and I hope you do as well. Thank you for my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Our next speaker is Dale Adams. Welcome back, Mr. Adams.
Good evening, board. I just wanted to come and say thank you. I gotta admit, I do miss the commendations. That is pretty special to see what happens here, and it is nice to see that, especially in today's turbulent world, which we are seeing tonight also. It is really good to see what's coming out of Bernie ISD. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate being invited to go to Austin. You guys sent a team to Austin. We went up there and we talked to the legislators about what was important for us as a community and for the school district. And a lot of those goals are going to be met. They agree and they're going to do it. And one of my biggest takeaways from going up there was the legislators were some of them were even taken aback by a school district that would go to Austin en masse and say, we want lower taxes and higher standards. It sort of surprised them. And I think they were very impressed by that. And so I appreciate y'all leading that and inviting the community to come along. It was a good trip. I think it accomplished a good goal. I think it really told them that we appreciate what they're doing if they're doing what we want. And as I've got time, I'm going to plug May 11th. That's Teacher Appreciation Week. Bernie Bookshop will be having a little soiree there for teachers. Any employee of BISD can come there, get 20% off, get drinks and snacks. Okay, sorry, I just had extra time there. But thanks, good job, everybody, and I really appreciate what y'all are doing. Though I still think Joe needs to talk more.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dale, and you have a great bookstore. I love it. Okay. Our next speaker is Denise Gardner. Come on up, Denise.
Good evening. My name is Denise Gardner, and I have 4 children at 3 of the Bernie schools. In lieu of recent events, I wanted to speak against a culture that is permeating throughout society. It seems that this culture is trying to tell us that there is only one right way to think, that a certain ideology is the only right one, and any parent or student who doesn't adhere to it is an unloving human. Society at large seems to be teaching our kids it's okay to be disrespectful as long as you think that the other person is a hateful person. Adults are leading this example. The problem is it's very subjective. Our kids have a right to have clubs, but regarding these clubs, a line was crossed, and the discussions I've had within the community were disheartening and concerning. I identify as a child of God. It's wrapped up into everything that I'm made of. Yet public school doesn't protect my right to identify as such in a public-funded manner. The same should go for everyone's personal beliefs. There shouldn't be promoting of personal beliefs during school hours. It is alarming that a medical professional felt it was okay to come into a public school and teach other people's children her beliefs. No, it wasn't mandatory, but it was held during school hours, and any impressionable young mind could have happened upon her rhetoric without parental consent. She was allowed into our school and told our students that Christians were hateful people. This is the cultural disrespect I am talking about, along with those who condone this. I may be called a phobic and other names for saying such things, which is part of the problem. No, I'm not afraid of anyone's beliefs. I am a strong, confident person, and I teach my children the same. I know who I am. I know how to respect others while also laying down a boundary for myself. And because of this, I don't allow other people to put me in a box, demanding I go along with their beliefs while they disrespect mine. I hold them to just as high of a standard as I hold myself. I don't stand for a culture that teaches our youth it's okay to call names, cross boundaries, and disregard rules, and abuse others through manipulation and passive aggression because others have different beliefs. I don't stand for a culture that teaches our youth that the biggest victim is the most special. The pendulum swings both ways. If we want respect, we also have to give it. We respect one another by honoring public rules that don't trample on others' rights. We seek to understand perspectives that are not our own. and we allow others to have different beliefs, free of name calling like transphobe or bigot and demoralization. This is what we need to be teaching our kids. I've had to speak up for Christian children in this school district that aren't even my own, who are scared of the backlash and consequences in standing up for their beliefs when a teacher crossed a line and put them in a very uncomfortable position. This teacher's reaction directed at the kids regarding me speaking up on their behalf was manipulative, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. She encouraged them to keep things from their parents and made them more afraid to speak up. This is not the environment we should be allowing in Bernie schools. Our kids need to know it's okay to be a Christian. It's okay to believe differently. It's okay to stand up for those beliefs when someone has crossed a line. It doesn't make you a hateful and loving person by having different morals or for having boundaries regarding what is okay and not okay for random adults to teach our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. And I'm just going to applaud the speakers so far. One came in at 3 minutes and two others at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. That's very impressive. So good job. Okay, our next speaker, Janine Castillo.
Good evening. Thank you for this time to speak to the public school community. Public school community where all are accepted and all are included. I'm here to voice my support for a group within this community that is being maligned and judged unfairly. I am here to support all of the folks of the LGBTQ+ community and the Gay Straight Alliance or organization that is an integral part of the public school community within our Bernie ISD. Just as other organizations and clubs on campus hold spirit weeks, events and such on campus to add joy and positivity and fun at their school, the GSA followed that same campus tradition, bringing students together and connecting students regardless of any differences they may have with each other, strengthening their relationships within this community. Now there seems to be an outside element of fear and anger rolling over a very normal occurrence within a campus. Fear of those that are different, fear of differences they might be ignorant about. This anger and fear causes discord and disconnect within a community that is built on an abundance of differences. And creating an environment that allows all children the ability to thrive within their differences. The students were allowed to voluntarily listen, question, observe, and discuss, critically think. The GSA gave all students comfortable opportunity to learn about those students that might be different from them. The opportunity to gain knowledge, facts, and data to be able to critically think about people and issues outside of themselves and their life, lending to a kinder and more compassionate and intelligent school community, and hopefully taking that capacity outside of that small community and growing a society that is kinder and more compassionate and able to critically think outside of just themselves. I have a message here from my child that went through Champion, scared to death every day to be himself. I asked him what he would say. A lot of it I can't repeat. But in the end, he says, call out how their infatuation with grooming or brainwashing is misplaced anger and brainwashing they themselves have received from a media that wants to pit people against each other to further their own goals. This is a public school system. All are welcome, all are accepted. Are there maybe procedures within organizations and clubs that need to be looked at? Are there issues within that might need solutions? Yes, but what
Thank you, Janine. Okay. Our next speaker is Colette Kearns.
Good evening. This past week, I learned that parental consent is becoming a vanishing commodity in today's education system. My child is a 16-year-old freshman at Champion High School. He has high-functioning autism, PANDAS, ADHD, and is on an IEP to meet his unique educational needs. On April 11th, 2023, my son attended an event for Kindness Week. A guest speaker in Champion High's library, the guest speaker was Sarah Ansbro, a psychologist from Cantera Psychology, who was available to speak to anyone who wanted to listen at all 3 lunches on campus that day. She was invited to speak about issues related to the LGBTQ community by the school's Gay Straight Alliance Club, the GSA, which meets weekly on Fridays at 8 a.m. under the direct supervision of a teacher on campus. My child came home that day and told me a psychologist had spoken at his school about gender-affirming healthcare, drugs to take to alter your gender, politics, including current legislation in Texas courts, and even Christians not supporting the LGBTQ community. When I got home, I decided to write the CHS principal and BISD super about the issue. I asked simple questions because I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that a medical professional was allowed to speak to children without parental consent. The response I received was disturbing to say the least, stating the district didn't know she was coming to the club and didn't go through the appropriate channels to get approved. It wasn't until later that I found out that not everyone received the email that I did. It was only because my child was identified as being present that I received an email in the first place. Many other parents reached out, trying to get answers, and left with no reply. Others took to social media to address the concerns. It was stated during a recent meeting with some higher-ups that this was blown way out of proportion, and I tend to disagree. After I received the initial response from the principal, I decided to investigate further into the Google Group Classroom. It was then I discovered slideshows about banned books containing sexually explicit content, such as Lawn Boy. This book has been banned in several Texas libraries around the state due to its graphic sexual content. I was going to read a clip, but there are young people in the audience, and I don't want to subject them to that matter. This particular group had another slideshow dedicated to the last gubernatorial election here in Texas. They utilized publicly funded taxpayer equipment to push a political agenda fighting against the current governor with inaccuracies and blatant lies, as well as our own House Representative Chip Roy. I'm no expert on election interference. However, this seems heavily inappropriate for a school to be promoting. As I went on viewing the slideshows, it made me wonder who the adult was overseeing this group. Why are there no rules? Why is this group apparently able to go rogue and do whatever they want? It was very disturbing considering how impressionable our youth is. The definition of educational indoctrination is teaching someone to accept a set of beliefs uncritically without the opportunity to question or examine them. I'm not opposed to the group existing, but it seems that BISD has a job to do to protect all students and make sure everyone is safe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Colette. Our next speaker is Landon Kearns. Landon, come on up.
My name is Landon. I am a freshman at Champion High School and decided to attend events on April 11, 2023 in my school's library for the Week of Silence. That morning, the Gay Straight Alliance Club had a presentation in the library about books they recommend for people to check out. One of the books recommended is Hell Followed With Us, mentioned evangelicals as cult members. I found it disturbing because it specifically targets Christian values and paints Christians in a bad light. This group also did a presentation on banned books that was presented during a regular club meeting. These books should be banned because they contain sexually explicit materials that are not appropriate for schools or children. These books should not be recommended to anyone in a school setting. The group focused their attention on political sides on more than one occasion. In the book ban slides, they mentioned conservatives being the reason for the bans, and they also had a full slideshow on who to vote and why politicians on the right are bad. During lunch on April 11th, I had no idea who the guest speaker was going to be. I was curious about what they were going to talk about. When I arrived in the library, I sat down for a presentation there. Dr. Sarah Asborough talked about hormone therapy and sex changes. She also talked about where and how to get sex change surgery, hormone shots, and Christian not supporting the LGBT community. I also told her that not all Christian people are bad and some are openly support community. She responded with, name 10 priests that are gay or openly support the community. I just sat back down because I didn't know how to respond. I actively support having a Gay Straight Alliance Club and I attend the meetings. However, I feel that since my own views on more of the conservative side and I identify as a Christian, that my views are not accurately supported in this club. The views presented are very one-sided, and it teaches you only to think one way and to ignore the other side. I also attend the esports club at Champion. In order to join the club, my parents had to sign a permission slip. This was to make sure I was always safe while attending the after-school club. The GSA club has no permission slip and to have parents sign, and basically your parents wouldn't know that you were going unless you told them. My esports club also has a Discord server, and that in order to use, my parents had to sign a permission slip. I had to allow my parents to access the account. GSA also has a Discord server, and my parents never had to sign a permission or even knew of its existence. Before and after school clubs need rules and regulations to ensure students' safety both online and in person. This will help parents be involved in their child's life, and you can still have fun in school. I am asking Bernie Independent School District to take action and accountability with these issues. Our future and safety as students depends on it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Landon. Our next speaker is Lisa Stokes. Lisa, come on up.
Good evening. Thank you all for letting me speak tonight. I just want to start with the statement that I love and respect my fellow citizens, and what I have to say has nothing to do with disliking individuals and the way they live their lives. I'm here to speak against what happened at Champion High School, where a medical professional was in essence smuggled into the school unapproved, without following school rule policy, and without parental consent. The medical professional then, to my understanding, spoke on gender identity, along with hormone suppression options and other information regarding this subject. Flyers were evidently readily distributed about the school. I find it extraordinarily hard to believe that the principal was oblivious to this. And if he was oblivious to this, then I feel he needs to be held responsible. The principal responded to my email concerning this event and admits that this was an unapproved event and the matter was being looked into. And what? A slap on the hand for whomever was responsible? Whoever knowingly organized this and blatantly disregarded the policy needs to be terminated. Without sending a clear and firm message, this will happen again and again. What's next? Middle school, elementary school? I've had children in this school system, and now I have grandchildren in this system. I will not stand by and watch my grandchildren subjected to this. My daughter and son-in-law do an exquisite job raising their precious children in the manner they see fit. And they need to be able to continue doing this unharassed by this type of intrusion. The principal denied that there was a security concern with the fact that this person was allowed to enter campus to be involved with an unapproved event. This doesn't make any sense. An individual has no approval to be on our children's campus, but you sign in and waltz in without anyone raising any question as to what your business is here. When I go to lunch with my grandchildren, I present my identification. I have to state where I'm going, who I'm going to go to lunch with, and get a name tag. It just doesn't make sense. So, in my opinion, this is a grave concern and needs to be evaluated immediately. First and foremost, as my email to the principal stated, school should be strictly to teach math, science, reading, etc. Attempting to allow indoctrination of our students to occur on campus is outrageous and beyond unacceptable. There is no place for this in our public school. Public school is not...
Thank you, Lisa. And our next speaker is Desiree Ivy.
I'm a retired educator. I'm a retired law enforcement officer and have my degree in workforce education and development, curriculum development with a minor in technology. Also, I was raised between a gay household and a heterosexual household. This is not about hating gay or transgender children. It is about a school not engaging in its fiduciary responsibility to the students it's entrusted to protect and maintaining transparency with parents. As a member of this community, I am disappointed with the fact that Champion High School has a Marxist hate group, the Gay Straight Alliance, on its campus. This is not a student-led organization. This is an international, activist, Marxist organization that uses students as its foot soldiers to influence political outcomes. I sent each of you the slides that were posted. I don't have it for the people here to see. I posted them for you. That was shown to these students in the GSAs at Champion High School. They're deceitful and partisan in nature. There was one about Abbott that he wants to keep trans kids from getting medical care, which is a lie. He just doesn't want their genitals mutilated and for them to be sterilized from the cross-sex hormones that cause mental and physical harm. For gender dysphoria, which used to be 90% of the cases, they resolve itself by early adulthood. A high school is no place for this fanatical organization that tells kids to go to protests wearing eye masks or wearing masks and eye protection. That's from the national GSA link. Even more so, I'm disappointed that a non-BSI or Bernie Inter-School District psychiatrist with extremist views was allowed on campus to talk with students without parent permission. The topics she discussed were inappropriate and hateful. The anti-conservative, anti-Christian speech propaganda at any high school, particularly Champion High School, is absolutely unacceptable and unethical. Allowing a partisan propaganda organization on campus with unfettered access to teenagers whose brains are still developing, as was spoken by the first speaker on this issue, is disgusting. Let's stick to reading, writing, and arithmetic. Adding insult to injury is the fact that someone violated the confidentiality of the student and family who disclosed what was happening during these meetings, which is certainly a violation of students' rights, and this resulted in bullying of the student and the family. It's obvious that the GSA at Champion High School violated rules by having an unauthorized adult on campus speaking to students without parental consent. The activist group needs to be suspended. They can have their partisan meetings off campus. They can have different meetings, but this Gay Straight Alliance is not for high schools. Who checked the adult in? Why were they checked in?
Thank you, Desiree. Our next speaker is Susanna Hogan.
Hello, President Senna, Dr. Price, members of the board. My name is Susanna Hogan, and I'm the president of PFLAG Bernie. Although I'm a cradle Catholic and typically avoid mixing church and state, I want to share my thoughts on religion in schools. Nowadays, even public schools incorporate prayer and signs that read "In God We Trust," despite the presence of students from different faiths and those who do not practice at all. We do not hear protests over religious freedoms as we celebrate diversity. It is a testament to our ability to honor each other's differences and embrace diversity in faith. That said, I understand that new ideas can be daunting, and it's natural to feel scared or uncertain when something challenges the status quo. But I believe that growth and learning come from stepping outside our comfort zones and engaging in critical thinking. I'm grateful for the courageous teachers and students who invited an LGBT professional to speak, providing an excellent opportunity for students to broaden their horizons and learn from different perspectives. Teachers already have a difficult job catering to each student's needs, school requirements, and the demands of parents. It's inspiring to see them go above and beyond to provide a safe and inclusive environment for all students. As parents, our job is to support our children unconditionally and encourage them to become the best version of themselves. It's not about imposing our expectations on them. We guide them, but we love them for who they are. If you're struggling to support your child in this way, please know that you're not alone. It's okay to feel uncertain or scared about new ideas or lifestyles, but it is essential to approach these conversations with empathy and an open mind. I urge you to broaden your mindset and think about the future of all children, not just your own. Every child deserves to feel loved and supported. It's up to us as a community to create a safe and inclusive environment where they can thrive. Together, we can make a difference and build a brighter future for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Board members, it does look like we've reached our 30 minutes. However, we have 6 more speakers, and they signed up. So if it's okay with you, I think we should proceed and extend the time. Yep. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. So our next speaker is Travis Grauman.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Price, and guests. I would like to talk to you today about the importance of teaching non-traditional gender studies in our local schools. This topic has become increasingly relevant in recent years as more and more people are recognizing the importance of inclusivity and understanding in our society. Firstly, I'd like to emphasize that gender is a complex and multifaceted concept that goes beyond the traditional male-female binary. By teaching non-traditional gender studies, we can help students to understand the diverse ways in which people identify and express their gender. This can include topics such as genderqueer, binary, and transgender identities, as well as the history of gender and sexuality in different cultures. Secondly, teaching non-traditional gender studies can help to create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for all students. By recognizing and valuing different gender identities, we can help students to feel validated and supported in their own identities. This can be especially important for students who may be questioning their gender or who may be facing discrimination based on gender identity. Additionally, teaching non-traditional gender studies can help to combat gender stereotypes and promote gender equality. By understanding the way in which gender roles and expectations have been constructed throughout history, we can work towards breaking down these harmful stereotypes and promoting a greater gender equality. It is important. Teaching non-traditional gender studies does not mean indoctrinating students with a particular ideology or promoting any particular agenda. Rather, it is about providing students with a deeper understanding of the complex and nuanced ways in which gender operates in our society. Furthermore, teaching non-traditional gender studies is not only important for the students who may be part of the LGBTQ+ community, it is important for all students to understand and appreciate the diversity of human experience, including different gender identities and expressions. Now, with regards to Dr. Sarah Ansbro speaking at the recent GSA meeting, it is important to clarify some facts. The GSA is a student-led organization, and the meeting was not mandatory. Attendees were there of their own volition and interest. In effect, she was invited by the students to provide her unique perspective as a successful member of the LGBTQ community, and the issues she has had to navigate as such. The students then naturally took the opportunity to ask her additional questions about gender identity and gender expression, which, being a member of the LGBTQ community and a licensed psychiatrist, provided them with a unique personal and professional perspective. With an entire deluge of information available with just a click, it is important that we facilitate more opportunities for our students to learn about these important subjects within the safety and structure of our schools, lest they be influenced by less qualified sources. Our students obviously want to learn and understand more. Let's put aside personal politics and support them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Travis. Our next speaker is Leslie Neighbors.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. You have to forgive me. I kind of came last minute, and I was going to put something together, but I'm just going to try to wing it and try to speak from my heart and how our family feels on this matter. So we are a Wounded Warrior family, and I have to say that because our son has gone through so much emotionally. Our oldest daughter has moved so many times that she has been in mental health. She's had a therapist. She's been suicidal. She's cut. And our son, Andrew Neighbors, has been to Fair Oaks Ranch Elementary with Mr. Robinson. in Van Rob, and he's at South. He's about to be a freshman next year at Champion. And we adore Mr. Robinson. Anytime my son was bullied or something happened that was breaking his spirit, Mr. Robinson and all of his staff, no matter who it was, stepped up, they squished the problem, and they eliminated it, and they allowed him to thrive. They allowed him to continue what we feel is a blessing to be here in this school district. You are an example. You're setting the example for the majority of these schools in our state and even our community. So with what all this I've said, and forgive me, I'm fumbling. I'm a little, I get migraines. I'm sorry. I just want to apologize first. I do support the LGBTQ community. I am a Christian. I'm not here to judge or be divisive. I'm raising my son to be a protector, a leader, and that goes for every person that's in his presence. It doesn't matter who you love, who you sleep with, what your preferences are. I am teaching my son to follow in my example and to be a protector of everyone that's in his presence daily. And with that being said, we didn't have an issue with the club taking place. We had an issue with what was being spoken about at this club. My husband had a different type of job when he was in the military and when he contracted in Afghanistan. A lot of that was security and making sure our children were safe and they felt safe. I don't understand how this person could have come into the school and they were not aware that this medical professional was here, and then they're promoting these books that speak of pedophilia, inappropriate sexual positions, and they're motivating these children with these books that are not appropriate for the school. I also don't understand is how it was a code of ethics where this was a confidentiality and it was anonymity with the parent. And the email, I got facts on this. This was not like I'm making this up. And then all of a sudden, it spread through wildfire on social media. Everybody knew about it. And they started doxing them. They started bullying them. They cornered the student. And my son, he couldn't understand that. He's like, well, why is this being allowed? And that hurts me to think that the student is being put through this, or any student. It doesn't matter what situation, but it's not okay. Whether it be your financial demographic or what have you. And I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Our next speaker is Ryan Frazier.
Thank you, Board. Mr. President, Dr. Price. I appreciated hearing from everybody that have spoken this evening. And one thing I noticed about them all on either side of this gender issue is they're all nice people. They all have kids. They all love their kids. You know, what I'd like to do is rephrase the conversation. I think that it should be seen differently, and I think it should be handled at the very top. You know, you don't have to be religious to have beliefs. Every successful society has had beliefs that were not religious, that were properly basic. In this situation, our properly basic beliefs, not only of the West, but of every major world religion, every successful society, are being threatened. I'd like to list and contrast successful societies with this new movement. First, with identity. Identity is first bestowed, then self-perceived. That's successful societies. Here, identity is first self-perceived, then bestowed. With self-perception, how you think about yourself, how you see yourself. Successful societies see self-perception as conforming to an objective reality, but not this new movement. You do not need to conform to an objective reality. That brings an incongruence, something that doesn't match. Incongruence between self-perception and self-reality is known as a brain dysfunction for thousands of years, but not now. Incongruence between self-perception and self-reality is a healthy brain function. In healthy societies that progress, self-perception can and should be changed to match reality, but not now. reality can and should be changed to match self-perception. That brings in healthcare. In successful societies, changing a minor's reality to match their self-perception would be called mutilation. But now, changing a minor's reality to match their self-perception is called healthcare. These are beliefs that undergird society. They're not religious, but they are beliefs. And as such, you might consider that this movement is a religious movement, one that's declared war on humanity in a way that would make the Nazis blush. I believe this needs to be handled from the very top and should not be trusted to middle management. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay, Alex Lucero.
Good evening, Board President Senna, board members, and Superintendent Price. I'm a resident of Bernie. My son is part of Bernie ISD. I'm here to discuss the incident that took place at your local school regarding a transgender and Christian hate presentation. Parents have the right to know and to decide if their sons and daughters should listen to a presentation about transgender issues and hate towards Christians. We, as parents, entrust Bernie ISD to make sure our students are safe. What happened was not right, which means that anything controversial should have an opt-in or an opt-out policy. If you want to lead and keep students safe, then provide a policy that allows parents to decide what their sons and daughters should attend and should not be allowed to attend. We are Bernie. We expect more from all of you here. We expect better leadership. And if this was not a school-sanctioned event, then we have a serious problem. Allowing an individual onto a school campus, to a classroom, or to an auditorium, or to a facility, a room, where students are there, and it was not a school-sanctioned event, that is a school safety issue. We expect all of our students to be safe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Our next speaker is Maxie Zinsmeister. Where's Maxie? You can go last. We won't forget about you, Maxie. Okay, Kate Harrison.
Nice to see some familiar faces up there. Thanks for taking the time to discuss this issue. I have 3 sons at the 2 high schools, and they're really curious kids. They're going to find out information in a lot of ways. The phone, probably, as you guys know, is kind of the most prevalent way that kids are going to find out information. And there's so much disinformation out there that my personal preference is that they get professional, good, intelligent, in the light of day information with teacher supervision and smart people around them in their school. My grandfather used to say, it's a really hard job growing up, and I think that that's more true today than ever. I hear some of these comments and I feel like our dear teachers, they are underpaid and they're the most valuable people in our community. And they're not trying to do something bad to our kids. They're the mothers of our kids, the sisters of my friends. They are doing their best. And so I hate hearing these criticisms of our teachers and our administrators we're doing a really hard job. I think we're going to do this thing differently next time. It sounds like that's pretty clear. But there's room for all of us to make mistakes. My kids make mistakes, teachers make mistakes, the president makes mistakes, people make mistakes. So I guess what I would just say is I really appreciate the conversation, and I want us to realize that curiosity is going to lead to good questions, and those questions do need to be answered. And I would love to see them answered in a responsible, intelligent way in the school system. I think I speak for a lot of people here hungry today. Really appreciate the fact there is room for this kind of discussion. High schoolers are discussing sexuality. It's not a secret. So thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. And our last speaker, Maxie, come on up. Now, before you start, Maxie, there's a little private joke here. Maxie was the moderator at an event recently where I was given, I think, 5 minutes to speak. And Maxie, who's a friend, said, I'll cut you off for 5 minutes. I didn't have a watch with me. I thought I was at 6 or 7 minutes, and I'm thinking, have I gone over my time? When's Maxie going to take the hook? And I had one more topic to cover, and I go, Maxie, can I cover this topic? And he goes, yes, you can. I later sit down, find out that I'm up there for like 14 minutes. And I have the gift of gab. That young lady who came up before and said she likes to talk, I guess we have that in common. So I would love to give you more. You're going to do it in 3 minutes, I know,
Well,
but
hold on.
you deserve more, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, I have some background information, okay? Mr. Senna was talking about something near and dear to my heart.
No, don't start the clock. He's not talking yet. Yeah, okay.
He was talking about taxes, and I identify as a taxpayer. So something that everybody needed to hear. Again, one of the gentlemen talked about the tax situation. Just did a great job on that. Looking forward to tax reduction coming up.
Okay, you got it, Maxie.
Trustees and doctors, thank you for your time. Again, I have been paying a lot of money to BISD over the years, so I think I have the right to let you know how I would like to have some of that money spent. I do appreciate what you're doing regarding career paths and preparing our kids for their futures. However, most of the effort is put into careers that require a college education. Don't get me wrong, I recognize you have excellent ag, welding, automotive programs, but we need to add something more to help our city and county going forward. With all the unabated growth within the city of Bernie and the county, at least unabated until we run out of water or successfully contaminate our underground water reservoirs, rendering it unusable, we need a civic services type program to prepare students for becoming firefighters, law enforcement officers, or EMTs. People moving here demanding our city and county provide the same level of services that they just moved away from, so we need to prepare for that as it is inevitable. In Bergheim, we can fully expect that the formation of an emergency services district will be on the ballot again in 2024, and due to the continuous growth in Cordillera, it will most likely pass this go-round, so we need to prepare. In support of the DOS Greenhouse Initiative, we kept hearing statements like, we need to do something to allow our graduates to continue to live in Kendall County, their home. We saw in the last DSD attempt that these firefighting positions will be high-paid jobs, so we need to make sure that our kids can get these jobs. In speaking with several of the fire chiefs in the county, their primary concerns were related to getting new, younger firefighters in the mix, as the average age of the volunteers is in their 50s. Hopefully this type of program will help our volunteer fire departments recruit new firefighters and will encourage these kids to pursue this as a career path as we need more first responders. BISD should be able to obtain an association with a local college that has a fire sciences program that can be leveraged to get these kids on the road to get a job upon graduation. In addition, there surely must be curriculum available to assist our kids that desire to be EMTs to pass the required test certifications required for the job. In the area of law enforcement, I went to the Kendall County Citizens Law Enforcement Academy a few years ago and a primary concern of one of the chiefs was lack of recruits available for hiring. The chief stated that almost all new recruits were either former military or came from a family of law enforcement professionals. We need BISD to step up and send the message to our kids that it is okay to be a Leo, along with helping them get prepared to pass the required test certifications. What better way to do community policing if we hire students who have worked hard to become actual officers that are from and grew up in our community? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Maxie. You know, Maxie, you had 12 seconds left. Should we add that onto your statement next month? Okay, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all that participated and shared their thoughts tonight. Appreciate it very much. Item 7 on our agenda is the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we want to remove personnel because there's a new appointment of a principal that we might want to introduce? So you want to do that?
We can just announce it, can't we? Can't we just announce who it is?
Okay, we'll approve the consent agenda, then bring her up. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Okay, great. So, Dr. Price, would you like to introduce our new principal?
It's with great pride that I get to introduce our newest principal. A great person. You know, one of the things we try to do is we try to make a balance of bringing people in for new knowledge, but also grow our own. And this is a great example of bringing someone in a few years ago from Northside, and she's blossomed as an assistant principal. And we would like to name Sammy Jo Gillette as the Cibolo Elementary School principal.
That's good.
Wow.
All righty.
We also want to take just a quick second to introduce our new Chief Technology Officer. He comes to us from Corpus Christi ISD, Sean Babcock in the back. And I'll tell you a real secret, whenever people interview with us and they come from outside, they look at our old board meetings online, and I assured him ours are always boring. I told him he came at a unique time. So, welcome to the district.
Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you. All right. So our next topic, item 8, is governance. Before we go into board member reports, we do have to review the board training hours report. It's something that's done annually every year. Trustees have to go through a minimum of 10 continuing education hours every year. Each member of our board far exceeds that number. We're usually in the 20s and 30s. So this is a statement regarding the board training hours. The State Board of Education requires continuing education each year of service for all sitting board members as a basic obligation and expectation. As board president, I am required to announce the name of each member who as of that member's anniversary of election or appointment to the board has completed, exceeded, or is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. By BISD board members Carlin Fryer, Donna Sharp, Joe Tidwell, Maritza Gonzalez Cooper, Jessica Davila, Garrett Wilson, and myself, Rich Senna, have all exceeded the required hours. So that has been done. Okay.
I wasn't quite sure till you read out my name, so I'm glad.
Well, I know your name's in there, you know. Okay. All right. Well, you know, that really is an important issue. I mean, you know, my dad had a saying, learn as if you're going to live forever and live as if you're going to die tomorrow. And my dad passed away at too young an age of only 61, but he was learning till the day he died. And I think he and my mom both really inculcated that. And, you know, a lot of us have been on the board a while, you know, 5 years, 8 years, 9 years, but you always learn new things. And when you think you're stopping learning, boy, that's when it's time to move on. You know, you've always got to be learning. So in any event, on that note, let's move into board member reports. I'll start with Dr. Tidwell. I know you've got an update.
Absolutely. So I'll give an update on the Facilities Committee meeting. We had our regularly scheduled meeting, and that was, I believe, officially a joint meeting, facilities and bond oversight, since that's mostly what we talked about was things that had to do with the bond. Long story short, or longer, we talked about a lot of stuff because, you know, Henry, you can probably give the exact number later, but a very large majority percentage of what was passed in that bond has either started or will be started this summer, with a lot of it being completed. Just some highlights of that to show you how much stuff we're talking about. Upgrades at Bernie High School, the BHS Courtyard, upgrades at Champion High School, Old Central Office, the current stadium, tennis court lighting, secure vestibule at the training center, HVAC deferred maintenance, which I just, for me, that one speaks to my heart. That's a huge thing that people don't think about a lot, but we have HVAC units, chillers on top of some roofs that are older than most of the people in this room. So that is very needed. And other mechanical engineering projects. The Aquatics Learning Center is still on progress to go out to bid, and talked about property and some other things. One last thing I'd like to hit that I try to mention as much as we can. We're approaching this very differently than most districts do. Typically, and most businesses, this would be basically managed CM at risk, where you pay a premium for the contractor to basically manage everything for you. We do not do that. What that means is about twice as much work for Henry and everyone in his team. It also means about, give or take, a 20% savings. So if you look at what we're spending to build a school compared to our neighbors, that's about the discount, even more so in some cases. It's also one of the reasons why we have bordering neighbors that don't have enough money to do the things that they've budgeted, and we are not in that position because we take fiscal responsibility very seriously. But that's all words. It doesn't matter if you don't have folks like Henry and his team working incredibly hard to make sure that we can do that. So I would encourage you, you can look it up, I'm sure, on our website, and I'll give you some more numbers the next time. But even if you go to the price per square foot, there's nobody in the state that's building what we're building for the price we're building it. And the last thing I'll say, I think that's very important because buildings are obviously very important. We're growing, but buildings don't teach anybody. It's teachers and the staff that do. So that's all I have for my update.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. You know, and I'll echo your point. You know, you make promises in a bond campaign. There were a number of projects, and there's one district, I won't mention the name of it, but it's in Bexar County, that promised 74 projects, and they had to shelve 13 of them because they didn't adequately estimate the costs and went over, and it's like, you just can't do that when you run a bond. You just can't do that. So thanks for that. Donna, do you have any? Okay, Carlin, you have a finance report?
Yeah, I'll go over this briefly. Last, I think it was Wednesday, the Finance Committee met, had a great presentation by Mr. Scott. I talked about some projections for the future budget, next school year, 23-24, just based on kind of some pending legislation. It's way too early to tell what the final numbers will look like, but it seems we can be a little bit optimistic on some additional funding based on what's going on in Austin. And then similar to what happened in the Facilities Committee meeting, we went over kind of an update on where we are in bond initiative packages and things like that. Mr. Scott gave us kind of a down and dirty estimate of what the remainder of this school year and budget year will look like. Our budget sweep estimates, we reviewed and went over the quarterly investment report, which was in the consent agenda that we've already reviewed this evening. The same with the TEA desk letter of our 2021-22 audit. And then had a brief discussion about the upcoming bond sale, pending what happens with rates in the next couple of days.
Very good, thank you. You know, you mentioned the quarterly investment report, and I think it's worth delving into that a little bit because last year, of course, interest rates were a lot lower, and we generated very little in interest income. Now, as you know, we collect a lot of our taxes, about 74% of our property taxes in the month of October. Most school districts get their money in January. People may wonder why we get our money, most of our money in October, a little bit more in November, and a bunch more in December. That's because we're one of only 30 districts out of the state of Texas that offers an early payment discount for our property taxes. It's 3%. Saves almost $3 million to our taxpayers this year. So it's a significant savings. And because we generate that cash on an early basis, we invested, and this year we'll generate $1.5 million. Mr. Scott's done an outstanding job in managing that, and that's just extra revenue for our district to go for items that are needed. So we appreciate that. Okay, that is our finance. Maritza, any updates? Jessica?
I have an update for the new 2023-2024 BEF, the Bernie Education Foundation. I'll just read who's on the executive committee and welcome some new board members. President is Nicole Gallegos. Executive Vice President is Lindsay Berwick. Vice President Development, Tamara Thornton. Vice President of Disbursements, Josh Peterson. Vice President of Marketing, Stephanie Hankins. Vice President of Finance, Jim Jeffrey. And Secretary is Stephanie Chandler. New board members are Judge Cahoon, Sarah Falconberry, Matt Myers, Lindsay O'Neill, Laura Serp, Colby Tate, Jen Wildley, Kimberly Young, and Danielle Scott. So we have a lot of new board members. So, are any BEF board members here tonight?
Matt Myers? All right.
There you go.
Okay. All right, thanks, Jessica. Garrett and I are going to share the legislative update. It's going to be a little more lengthy tonight because we are in the middle of the legislative session. And some of our speakers earlier referenced that, so I'm glad to see, Dale, you're still here. On
Rich,
a different...
I get terrified when you say you're going to be a little more lengthy.
Okay, don't worry. Maxie, you can give me the hook, will you? Okay. All right. Where's Ricky Morning? Ricky's out in the audience. Totally separate topic. Ricky and I drove up to Austin on April 6th to attend Governor Abbott's 2023 One Pill Can Kill Summit. It was a very good day. We learned a lot, and I know your head was full of ideas driving back from Austin. So that was it was a nice day in Austin. Okay. We're going to focus on a couple of main categories: property tax relief. House Bill 2, the House version of property tax relief, passed the House by a 139-5 margin. Money is allocated to reduce the maximum cap tax rate on the maintenance and operation by 15 cents. That's what the state, they will increase funding to public schools and require that we lower our tax rate by that amount. So that's a significant tax rate reduction. Bernie ISD, along with 70% of Texas school districts, is already at the equity floor, the tax equity floor. What that means is there's the standard tax rate, and you can be 10% below that tax rate, and we're there, okay? And so that's limits how much in the past few years we've been able to reduce property taxes. House Bill 2 already also caps annual property appraisal growths for all properties, commercial and residential, to 5%. That would begin in year 2024. Now that's the House version, okay? Senate has a very different philosophy. Their property tax bills. Senate bills 3, 4, and 5 passed 31 to nothing. All three of them passed 31 to nothing in late March. Senate Bill 3 raises the homestead exemption from $40,000 to $70,000 and increases that exemption for those over 65 up to $100,000. Senate Bill 4 reduces the maximum tax rate by 7 cents. House was 15. Senate is 7, but they're also increasing the homestead exemption, and they're raising the equity floor from 10% below the top rate to 20% below. What that means to us, since we're at the equity floor already, and we're a high property appraisal district, that means in addition to those 7 cents, we'll get extra cents to reduce our tax rate. At the end of the day, I suspect it's going to be pretty close whether the House version passes or the Senate version passes. We'll see. But both the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor are stuck in the mud on their ideas, so we'll see what their ability is to compromise. There is a conference committee that's been formed, 5 from the House, 5 from the Senate. Our goal will be to meet over the phone or in person with as many as possible. I had my first meeting today with Representative J.C. Jatan out of Fort Bend County. He was very gracious and liked a lot of what we had to share about our thoughts on property tax relief. The budget, House passed its budget also by 139 to 5 vote. It's $137 billion budget. It pays for the property tax relief. It pays for the golden penny yield that will generate about an extra $1.5 million for us. And it adds $5 billion for K through 12 public education, to be seen in a variety of ways: an increase in the basic allotment, and potential increases to the school safety allotment. And it would also remove the cap. Wes, I know this will make you happy. It would remove the cap on the fast growth allotment, which would be very good for us because we don't get paid our full fast growth allotment because of the statewide cap. That would be removed. And it fully funds the new facilities instruction allotment, which also had been capped. So that's a nice feature. So there's a lot of good things in the House budget. The Senate budget's actually $5 billion higher than the House budget, but it pays, and it would pass by a 31 to nothing vote on April 17th. However, most of that $5 billion goes to infrastructure projects, the grid, water projects, et cetera. So it'll be interesting to see how they merge those two together. The property tax relief is a little bit lower than the House, and they have the golden penny yield, but they did not remove the cap on the fast growth allotment, nor fully fund the new facilities instruction allotment. So all that's to say that it should be a pretty good year for public education in terms of additional funding, and we will just see how things go along in the next month. They have to finish by May 29th, and today is April 24th. So that's 35 days. They're 75% through. So I know Garrett's going to fill in the rest.
Great. So moving on to school safety. There's a couple of different bills here, 2 in the House and 1 in the Senate, that are carrying some legs with them. House Bill 3 increases funding from $9.72 to $10 per ADA. So it's really not that big of a jump. It also has $15,000 per campus in it that would be allocated to student safety and school security. House Bill 13 has much more magnitude to it. It goes from the current $9.72 for school safety funding per ADA to $100 per ADA. And so that's a much larger jump, about 1,000% jump. It also provides more flexibility over how the funds are used. So as long as they're used to improve school safety and security, then those funds would be okay for that. The bill also requires that each district annually adopt and implement an active shooter plan. And something that would pertain to us, it also changes the recapture calculation so that recapture districts can use those recapture funds to hire additional security personnel, which would be good for us. Senate Bill 11 is really very similar to the House Bill 3, the one that didn't increase funding for safety and security as much. So House Bill 13 there is looking pretty good. As far as the COLA goes for the retirement system retirees, the prospects has already been talked about tonight. The prospects of something getting passed as far as an increase in the COLA is very good. Senate Bill 10 has an increase for those who retired prior to 2013 when they did the last change of 4%, and then 2% for those after 2013, and then a one-time bonus of $7,500. The House bill that's talking about the COLA is House Bill 600, and that has a very similar, really a very similar COLA as far as the percentages go. And it's kind of a similar bonus, $5,000 for those 70 and up. So that's promising. That looks like that's going to pass in some form or fashion. Teacher pay and staff, teacher and staff pay. Senate Bill 9. This is it would increase pay for teachers, counselors, nurses, and librarians by $2,000 per teacher for districts with 20,000 students and over. The one that would apply to us is the districts with less than 20,000 students would get $6,000 per employee. The problem with that one is that money is only allocated for 1 year, and so it'd be a good jump for our staff. It would be nice if they would, make a plan to fund that further than 1 year. House Bill 100, on the other hand, does a lot of things. This is a promising one. It's got an increase in the basic allotment over the next 2 years of about $140. So that's not real significant, but it helps. It mandates that 50% of an increase in the basic allotment would go to increase teachers' salaries. It also removes the $320 annual limit for the fast growth allotment, and it allows a sixth golden penny. So those would both be items that would be particular to us. School vouchers. The Senate has passed a bill that establishes education savings accounts up to $8,000 for students that were enrolled in a public school in the past year. It's still pretty, I would say it's unknown what's going to happen with that, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'd say that the Senate's probably more prone to pass something there than the House, so we'll see what happens. It does seem like that's gotten bogged down some. Senate Bill 1814 also prohibits districts from including defeasance in their INS tax rate, so prepaying their bond debt. It would basically make you set the tax rate at whatever would actually pay your P&I payments without being able to pay them earlier, and we talked about that in the Finance Committee this last week. And then also another interesting one, Senate Bill, this is just kind of in the other category, Senate Bill 13. There creates a new school library standards and parental notification requirements. There's some of these bills that they have a new book safety allotment that uses some sort of, as I understand it, some sort of software algorithm that kind of tests books that are going into schools, just ensuring that they're age appropriate. And so there's some talk around that, and probably something we'll pass along those lines. So that's the rest of them.
One thing on 1814, because Wes brought it up last month, based on a presentation by Moak and Casey this past Friday with Dr. Price and Carlin and myself and several of the other, Dr. Wes Scott and others, that the chances of that passing in the House are minimal. Because we asked the question, what's wrong with paying off your debt early? That's a good thing. You save interest. So I didn't really understand why the Senate would propose that, but you know, there's a lot of things I don't understand, I guess. So, okay, well, anything else? Any questions for Garrett? Or
Just
myself?
one thing to add, I know I say this every time, but you know, when we use phrases like increased funding and increased allotment, they're absolutely accurate. But for Bernie Independent School District, because we are in a recapture property wealthy district, in effect for us, they're letting us keep our own tax dollars. So it is not a gift from the state to us. We are able to keep more of the tax dollars that we are required to levy. And to emphasize your point, Rich, we are at the minimum M&O tax rate allowed by law. We would like it to be lower, but we're not allowed to. So part of what they're doing is saying we give you permission to lower taxes, which we would love to do, and that's why we advocate for it. So that's all. I'll probably say that every time this comes up.
That's good. And you know, and it reminds me of the words, people use the words Robin Hood, recapture. It's really not even recapture because the state is saying they're recapturing money. Whose money are they recapturing? They're capturing our money. So really, if anyone's a thief, I don't want to say it. I was going to say if anyone's a thief. I didn't say that. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Hey, President Senna, can you also watch House Bill 2546? It's the one where they're trying to change the calendar statewide in the schools to start later.
That's the Save the Summer bill.
Yeah, I think it's still pending in committee, but
Yeah.
I just don't know what that will do to school districts that have already set their calendar. So I think we should watch that one.
Good point. Okay, very good. All right. Great. Well, Dr. Price, I think we're on to you. Superintendent report.
Okay, got a little bit of a list. First on Maxie, I want to tell you this. I agree with you completely. We have been working on providing pathways where you don't necessarily need to go to college. And one of the ones that we're exploring is just what you discussed, safety along with EMS and firefighters. So that's something we're looking at trying to come up with a partner to do. So we're doing it. It's been a really busy past couple of weeks. I want to start out, just continue with some of the celebrations. It was neat as we watched the kids come by and just realize the success that we're having, and we've all grown kind of immune to it. We just expect it, but just at Bernie High School alone, we've had 4 teams this year be in the top 4 in the state. Girls soccer, basketball, both sides, and football. And that's amazing. And as I've gone out and I've spoken with these groups, and this is Champion 2, we've collected a whole lot of bronze medals this year and some silver. We want the gold. But what I share with the kids is this. They feel bad because they didn't reach the gold. There are 150 other schools in the state that are 4A or 5A that would trade places for that bronze medal at any point in time. And for us to have that much success, and that's our year really isn't over, because I think next week and this week we start state tennis for both schools, track for both schools, and golf for both schools. So we expect more medals there. One act, Champion, is they earn the right to go defend their state championship, and they do that in 2 weeks. It's going to be tough. It's always it's a tough competition at that level, but it's remarkable to make it back 2 years in a row for that competition, and we just have to cheer them on as we go through. And softball and baseball playoffs are starting, with softball this week, baseball next week, and we should have 3 teams in the playoffs. 2 of those teams at Bernie High School are rated in the top 5 in the state right now. I mean, so we expect more medals as we go through. It's a good place to be because this goes through cycles, and it's going to be down the road sometime. We'll be looking for those medals, and we'll be looking for parades. So we need to cherish what we have now and celebrate every chance we get. Some other accolades, real quick, our CHS Junior ROTC all-female color guard won third in the state. We met tonight the young man who won the Citizens B, which is really a neat process. I was with Beto in the hallway, and he stopped him and was talking to him, and he was explaining the process. It's really, I couldn't have done it. He did a great job. Also, we mentioned here a couple of our coaches that got some good, pats on the back. But Coach McComb was Coach of the Year, and I just saw something about Coach Adamak getting Coach of the Year also. That's pretty good. Bernie's Best was this past week. I went out to watch the one act, so I didn't get to see it, but it's one of the things that I know we all cherish because we cherish our heritage and where we come from, and some great examples of just our history and honoring it. And every year going through that process, and this is our 4th year to do it, and sold out every single year. And big person back there, Coach keeps that going for us, and his staff, and makes it good for us. We also found out this week that we have been named for the 2nd time in 3 years one of the best communities in the United States for music education. So, we love both sides. We love our fine arts. We love our athletics. We're doing something a little bit unique with athletic signing because we haven't actually doing a 3rd one. We did it today at Champion. We're going to do BHS. When's BHS next signing? Wednesday. It's always great to see, but today one of the things that really stood out to me, we had 6 individuals, and I think 5 of them were D1 schools, which is pretty good. And I think I know of at least one D1 school at Bernie High School, so Mr. Wilson's going to get to share about his daughter, and that can I tell them all? Texas State scholarship. Yeah. And then one of the things we started last year was Academic Signing Day, because we want to honor all these kids that are doing athletics, but also our purpose here is to make sure that we are honoring, that we're learning along the way. So we tried a few experiments last year of making sure we honor the kids, all the way from kids who are going to trade school, kids that are going off to military, kids who are going off just to college, 2-year, 4-year. And like anything you do for the first time, we learned a lot. We made some adjustments. So I think tomorrow is Champion, and then the next day is Bernie, and it's at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's smaller this year. We'll learn from it. We'll see what happens, and then we'll make adjustments. But our kids earned $17 million in scholarships last year. And I think we're going to get even bigger this year as we go through this whole process. Workforce Wednesday, which we call it, where we bring together employers from the community and a lot of employees, our students. Their first lesson in life about how to apply for a job. Remember, we spend a week with them going through what's on a resume, how to fill out an application, how to shake hands, how to dress. And we did a super job of last year. Over 40 employers came to each of the schools, and I think we connected jobs with students, and it's needed in this community. So we kind of helped both ends, and that will be happening again coming up in a couple of weeks. The 10th anniversary of Shell 77, Captain Voss's group, the flyover, that's coming up. I don't have the date with me. Looking for Kathy. May 11th. It's in the afternoon, and we'll make sure you get an invitation. Rich mentioned incubator night, pitch nights tomorrow. $50,000 is the giveaway of donations for those students. That's remarkable that they were able to raise that, and some great ideas. Teacher of the Year lunch. That's where we say goodbye to this year's and hello to next year's Teachers of the Year. That is coming up on May the 4th. Always a great event. Let's see. We had visitors Friday, XFL, San Antonio Brahmas. Quite an experience for our kids making that connection, and for some of the adults who are football fans. So that was pretty neat to see that. We officially received notification that our early college application was approved, so we're on schedule. That's the medical fields. Let's see. TEPSA, Matt and Dana are going to be presenters at TEPSA this year. Congratulations, and thanks for representing us, sharing what's going on. A couple of neat things I think that this is the time we're getting ready for next year, and trying to evaluate what we could do better. And we're going through safety protocols and all of those things, just reviewing them. But one of the things that's popped up that I've really wanted for a few years now, and John's taken this and worked with Stan to make it work, is extracurricular handbook. We've not had one of those. So it is something our coaches got together, and that's fine arts and athletics, and came up with this 20, 30 page, this is our expectations, and it's approved by the whole group, and we're going to stick with it. It's just expectations about what we want our students in those programs to do, remembering that it's a privilege to be part of those programs. So here's our expectations. The other thing that we're looking at, as we've come out of COVID, we're looking at cell phone usage. That has become a problem for us. And we are meeting with our principals, assistant principals, and part of it, we're just focusing on what our policy states. Our policy states that during instructional time, the expectation is the phone to be put away. And when you listen to the teachers and staff advisory, that's been one of the things that's been a very big distraction. So we're going to work on messaging out what the expectations are for next year, and trying to make it a great learning experience for our students and a great teaching experience for our staff as we go through. And the last thing, this weekend, on Saturday, I'll be spending the day with the folks from HEB. I'm one of the judges for Teachers of the Year. Always a great experience. Seeing the teachers from across the state, and on Sunday ends up two different categories that I'm looking at, secondary and elementary, $20,000 for each. Great recognition. What I see every time, though, and one of the things I spoke with Brian in the communications department about, is any of our teachers are better than those. And and we have got to make sure we nominate our best teachers and help them with the application, because they deserve the recognition. And that's all I have.
Okay, we have any questions for Dr. Price? Just one comment, Dr. Price. I'm glad you're going to be looking at the cell phone issue, because I hear different things from parents, and I'll never forget, my son was a junior at Bernie High School, and I had to go, I don't know, sign something or pay a couple of bucks, which I took out of his bank account, to get his cell phone back, because he was doing it in class, and they should be paying attention. So I'm glad to see you're going to be addressing that issue.
We don't want it to be an I got you. We also don't want it to be another burden on the teachers. So it's really going to be something we have to talk about, the culture of what we want. We're in a situation that we no longer can say, I don't think we can say keep them at home, because of all the extra activities after school, before school, but we can set out some expectations and try to make the learning environment more conducive.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Price. And looks like our last item, Wes, you're up with the financial report monthly. You got any jokes this month?
Stop me if you've heard this one before. Feel that from the Kate, I think. No, I've got nothing. I'll start off with a little legislative update since everybody's.
I guess we would say stick to your day job, Wes.
There we go. There we go. I did get an update right before I came up. Mr. Wilson had talked about the competing security bills out of the House, House Bill 3 and 13. They both passed the House today. But the floor amendment that was passed that increased the per ADA funding in House Bill 3 to $100. They're both the same. There's an understanding that they both, they've been sent to the Senate now. Both might pass. That does not make, that doesn't mean we would get $200 per ADA. That just, they both have the same section of law. They both have other components that the other one doesn't address. So that's the latest I know about the legislature. But that $100 per ADA funding would mean an additional $900,000 over current law and $800,000 for House, which would go a lot farther in funding security at Bernie ISD. We would be grateful for if it went through. You have been given the results of operations financially for the district through March 30, 2023. I think the most remarkable thing I can say about this report is that it's very remarkable. We're 3 quarters through the year. The results of operations are in line with expectations, both budgetarily and as we have progressed through the year. Yes, as I was looking through it, I did not see a whole lot that stuck out to me other than the donations report. And once again, I would like to point out that the donations report is very unremarkable. I would point out the total at this point in time is $800,000. It is unremarkable for Bernie ISD. I think any other district is overjoyed to get this kind of support from the community financially, and we sure appreciate every single dollar. Tax collections continue to be a little bit above last year, a little bit above average, and we're thankful for that as well. I will submit that report to you for.
Okay, do we have any questions for Mr. Scott? I just have one on debt service fund.
Yes, sir.
I mean, do we expect any other expenses? We've already made our payments in February, right?
That's when the bulk of our payments are made. We actually have a payment in June from the August transaction. We have a December and June.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I see we're under budget for expenditures.
Yes.
So it's because of the June payment.
There's also an accounting entry that needs to be made.
Okay.
Dollars from the 2014 refunding into fees. I need to do a simple entry to get that dollars. That will in the June interest payment.
Very good. Okay, thanks. Okay, I know we need a motion to approve.
Sure, Mr. President, I move to approve the budget amendments, donation report, tax collection report as presented.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, which brings us to our last item on the agenda, which is future business. The next meeting will be May 15th. That's going to be when we inaugurate a new trustee who's sitting in the audience, Christy Schmidt. Okay. But we will tearfully say adieu to Ms. Sharp, who's been a phenomenal trustee. So impart in the next month, impart the wisdom. We have a lot of wisdom coming in, but impart. Okay. On that note, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Great. Good night.